Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his good friend Dion. And if you watched video number one, I had no idea today was Wednesday. I thought it was Tuesday, and I got all kinds of confused. But at the end of that video, Dion talked about an industry that Patrick Bet David from Valuetainment called out that was being crushed. And I want to talk about it, see if he's right. What do you got, Dion?
Well, in fairness to you thinking today was Tuesday, Matt reached out this morning, the lumberjack landlord who was supposed to record. But because he is so graceful, how do you say took a tumble without sounding it like it's an attack?
Gravity one.
He messaged both of us and said, I can't make it today, which made me think it was Tuesday because we record on Tuesdays now, which was yesterday. And for a second, I thought it was again Tuesday. That's what this retired life is like.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's the industry that's being decimated. And I really think it's come to a point that you were talking about, probably the title of this video. People who think they are better than they are. This is who's going to get crushed. For the last 2 years, if you were a real estate agent and you found somebody who had a home for sale, you were Bella at the ball. Multiple offers, waiving contingencies, over asking, cash offers, like all of these things coming out of the woodwork to try to make a transaction happen.
Yeah.
That's not happening now. We are seeing an actual crash in transactions. And while as an investor who invests for cash flow, who cares? Who cares if no transactions happen tomorrow? It doesn't impact what we already have in place. So the goal is to get people to make purchases so that they have them in place. But for that job, that episodical need to rinse and repeat a transaction to have a lender make a commission or however they're paid for closing their deal, have an agent get their commission check, have the brokerage make money because their agents are closing deals. It is a very different world today than it was 6 months ago. And I don't see the next 6 months getting better.
No. Yeah, I think Patrick Bet David is absolutely right. And again, in this video, that's the video, the thumbnail says fear porn. I want to give full credit to Patrick Bet David for calling out something I have long felt. I think I've hinted at it, called it stimulus ballers, but he is absolutely right. There are a lot of people in a lot of industries that got lucky with timing that aren't very good at what they do. And some of them were lucky at timing and okay at what they do. But now in a market that's changed, they don't have the skill, experience, knowledge, network. They're going to get crushed. And I say this as somebody who was that person 20 years ago, 22 years ago. I start my journey, and I document this in the book, One Rental at a Time, being somebody who had $7,000. I start investing it in the stock market, and over time, I grow it to almost 200 grand. That's pretty good. In relatively short time, like less than 18 months. I start doing less and less work. I start applying more and more leverage. I start thinking I'm better than everybody else, and I turn around and lose 80% of it. So I say this as someone who was this person 22 years ago. There are plenty of you that are about to be spanked. Some of you are going to go bankrupt. Some of you are bankrupt already and don't even know it. Some of you are going to be changing. There is so much pain coming to the arrogant, the cocky, the undisciplined in lots of segments. That's what happens in a recession. Buffett says when the tide goes out, we see who was swimming naked. I was swimming naked in 2022. Losing 80% sucks. It's going to happen to lots of people.
And to quote Cody Davis, you could lose all your money, and that's no fun.
That's no fun.
That's literally what he said. So my concern at the open of the video was agents and lenders, that industry that is being decimated. We're going to see layoffs in that sector, and it'll get a lot of news because a lot of people interact with the mortgage company. You're either paying your mortgage or you're paying your landlord's mortgage. Somehow, in a way, we touch the mortgage industry. So it's going to get a lot more news. As far as numbers of people being employed, it's not going to be that big of an impact to the economy as far as that sector not doing transactions. The other things that impacts, like contractors not doing deals, builds not happening, supply chain slowdown, like all of those things, yes, that will hit the GDP. But it's also going to be impacting the people who, for the last 10 years, because we were in an uptrending market, like you said, the average person, the not very skilled, the not very talented person, could make some mistakes, and the market fixed it. The market said, you screwed up your after repair value and your timeline on repairs. But since 3 more months has passed, we've seen 15% appreciation. You're now going to walk away with some more money.
Yeah.
Again, that's not going to happen in the next 6 months.
No. No, there's a lot of pain coming. The transaction crash is here. I think housing, residential investments in a depression, if not already, it's going to happen soon. To your point, I think the next 6 months are rougher than the last 6 months. Think about that, right? Mortgage demand is down, I think it was 83% refi, 41% purchase, and going lower. Builders now are saying 2023 is going to be worse than the second half of 2022. Ouch, right? In, mortgage, real estate agents, contractors, notary publics. Like, I closed a deal on Monday, and I always talk to my notary who comes in signs. I say, how's business? For most of the last 2 years, I got 6, 7, 8 appointments. This was a Saturday, I think I signed. It might have been a Sunday. 1. That's all I have. I haven't had one for 3 days. I'm like, wow, this is changing. So again, I think Patrick Bet-David is absolutely right. He talks about his son playing, I think it was backgammon or dominoes or something. I think it was dominoes. And being cocky, right? Kind of looking at the scoreboard at halftime and getting his ass spanked because daddy won at the end. I think he's right. I think there's a lot of pain coming. And hopefully you look yourself in the mirror and say, could this be me? There's a lot of people still operating like nothing's changed, and that's unfortunate.
I've got a friend who works in title, and so her industry is the same thing. They're always trying, like, literally her job is to find new business. And in different areas of the country, it works differently. There are certain, like in Florida, like all but one county, the sellers pick the title company, and then in this one county, the buyers do. And I might have that reversed. It might be the other way around, because I don't live in Florida, but I knew that was something related to the industry she works in. So what she's doing, I think, is really smart. And so think of this. This is a person whose industry could be decimated. Over 90% of real estate agents never own a rental property. So this is somebody who works in title. They're not even, they might have been a realtor at one point, but I don't know. She's not now. She's house hacking.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you find a little more stability in an unsecure market is how do I reduce or eliminate my largest expense so that if there's a massive change and I need to go find another job or I need to go on unemployment for a while, that's how life is more sustainable in the beginning. So if you're not even going to go for rentals, you're not going to build a portfolio one rental at a time, I think people should still incorporate a version of house hacking into their plan.
I agree.
Just, because some people end up doing it the forced way. I haven't planned, but
you become the roommate.
You now need a roommate, and it's going to be whoever comes along first, and you might not be selective, and that could be a mistake.
Agreed. Yeah. So again, I think Patrick Bet-David is absolutely right. I think he is, his message of the next 2 years are going to suck, but also be amazing, right? If you listen to that message, he's like, in 10 years, we'll all be good, but we just have some pain coming. Some of you need to realize you're going to get spanked. I think he's absolutely right. Dion, where can people find you?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. And I want people to think, let's say you bought at the peak of the market, the end of 2007, beginning of 2008, and then the housing crash happened and you had to buy and hold rental. Property values for the next 3 years go down. It sucks. You're underwater. You probably owe more than it's worth. Who wouldn't like to pay a 2008 price for any property today at the peak of the market? So yes, it's going to suck for the next 6 months to 2 years, but in 10 years, we'll all be okay.
There you go. Thank you so much, Dion.